It's Wednesday. We're into 2022. We're back to our next show here. I'll really appreciate the partnership we have with Red Cloud, and we have another great guest on today. We're really looking forward to hearing about Orex Minerals. So today we're joined with Ben Whiting, who's the president CEO over there. How are you doing? We've got a little bit amount of time, so we really want to focus on what's happening, what's exciting, and what the plans are for 2022, but also kind of give us a bit of an update of what the thesis is and a little bit about the groups that you're working with.
Great to meet you here again, and I'd like to welcome you to the Orex story. I'm not going to give a full presentation right now, but we're in the state of Durango, Mexico, and Durango, Mexico is in the heart of the silver trend of Mexico. Mexico is #1 in the world for silver production, big deposits down through that belt. In the state of Durango, to set the stage, there have been two acquisitions that have happened in that state just recently. You may have heard of La Preciosa. La Preciosa was recently bought by Ivanhoe from Coeur Mining. Well, Coeur Mining bought it from us. We're the team that made the discovery of the La Preciosa deposit, and our group of geologists and mining finance people were the ones that received an Explorer of the Year for that discovery.
So and that's the Belcara group.
The Belcara group, yes. We
yes.
know that belt. We know the geology in Durango and the geology of the Mesa Central, the central highlands of Mexico, and where to look for silver and gold and various base metals. Also, I'd like to point out one that happened, I guess it was last week, was Endeavor Silver, which is a very talented silver mining company, bought La Piteria from SSR Mining. And SSR Mining was a former Silver Standard Resources, and they bought La Piteria for, I think it was $127 million. SSR deposit is 75 kilometers away from Orex Minerals Sandra project. And Orex Minerals Sandra project is a look-alike as far as the style and the type of mineralization as La Piteria, where we've got a silver deposit that we've already discovered that is a silver oxide with manganese and silver minerals in there, and silver salts, if you will. The bromargyrite and chlorargyrite are in that deposit. If you go over to La Piteria, their Cordon Colorado zone looks just like our Belarus zone at Sandra. Now, we're moving in Sandra in joint venture with Pan American Silver. Yes, Pan American Silver, you know them. Yep. They're the #2 silver producer in the world. So Little Orex Minerals is partnered with Pan American Silver, and we are the operators because they recognize our talent.
See, this is significant. We talk about this on the show often, is that sometimes the price of a stock does not belie the amount of work, experience, and the story or what's going on behind the scenes. And that's certainly relevant here, because to have like the experience and the success in the past in this region, and then having such majors coming and looking for you to help, those don't guarantee anything, but they certainly are massive indicator for someone that your projects, you obviously have the ability to pick good projects as well.
Yes, and for Sandra, we've completed the merging of our properties together and completed the geological mapping and rock sampling, the lithogeochemistry, to tie the projects together, because Pan American had ground in that area too. And so we brought them all together, and we are filing this week our report to SAMRNAT, that's the government agency, for our drilling permits. So SAMRNAT will receive what they call an informe prevental. It's an environmental permit that says that we are ready to drill and we understand how to drill in this area. Excellent. So that's happening, right? Now,
yeah, go ahead.
If you move down to the central part of Durango, right in the middle of the state, is a project called Coneto.
Yes.
And Coneto is a joint venture with Fresnillo. And Fresnillo, as you're aware, is the number one silver producer in the world. So
Yes.
we have number one and number two, the two biggest silver players in the world, are joint venture partners in the heart of the silver trend of Mexico.
And this one, I believe they spent like $6 million on exploration to get like 55% earn-in on this one.
That's correct. They've
Yep.
completed that.
Yep.
We just did filed last November was the very first mineral resource estimate. So the maiden resource estimate on the property, and it was good. It was a good entry. We did on 6 different lodes on the property. We have multiple veins. And this was the very first time when we presented our metallurgy and we presented drilling data into a resource estimate that came up, I think in gold equivalent, it was 538,000 ounces of gold equivalent as our very first estimate.
And it had something like a 98.8 or something percent recovery rate. It was pretty high.
Yeah, that was the highest zone on the silver.
Yeah.
Out of the zones, the 7 tests that we did, 5 of them came up over 93% recovery, which is excellent. So you're right that the top one zone came up at over 98% in recovery of silver.
And that program at Coneto is all the planning is underway right now, whereas Sandra's they've got all the mapping done and everything is set. And also diamond drilling that started last year on Sandra.
Sandra, we've done some diamond drilling because we have a resource there as well.
Yes,
we have a resource of 33 million ounces of silver in the Belarus zone. What we're seeing as we move from the Belarus zone to the northwest is a change in mineralogy and a change in what we see as the temperature, or the feeder system, if you will, is getting warmer, higher temperature minerals as you're heading towards the northwest. We see a change from the oxides to the sulfides. And so it could be more of a traditional flotation type operation if you find a good deposit in the sulfides.
So the ability of having such a strong technical team, I mean, this is what, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate. This is sometimes where, especially a generalist investor can get lost because they don't know the technicalities, but you're attracting all the majors, which is wonderful because that's really at the end of the day, you want to have partnerships with these majors, but it's trying to tell that story to someone who maybe doesn't understand the geology or how it works or what the indicators are, because it is a difficult. I mean, mining isn't easy. We deal with a lot of generalist investors. So getting that story across, and I guess I'd say emphasizing to people that are watching and listening that those partnerships are they're hard to come by. I mean, we're talking very technical people looking at very high end, mapping and whatnot. It's a very, very good sign to have these types of partners in your projects.
Yeah, just you've brought up the Belcara Group for this particular, as it pertains to Orex Minerals. I'd like to point out that Dave Gunning has joined the board of directors, and he was the chief operating officer for Starcore in their producing silver gold mine that's down in Querétaro. And so he has got that mining production background that he brings to the team as well. As financial advisor, Gary Cope is a top-notch fellow, and he's also working within our group on the Barsele projects over in Sweden as a joint venture with Agnico Eagle Mines.
Oh, wow, excellent. Yeah.
A very, very famous gold mining company.
Yes.
See how these connections interlace. Even though Orex is a small company on the venture board, we have access to some great talent.
Yes, and this is the message I kind of get out to people all the time as well, is sifting through the companies that have, and you have to attract, you have to have the right project and the management and then the backing. You have to have all those 3 things to give it a shot here, and you have. And one usually attracts the other, which attracts the other. And when you can get some of these companies like yourself at I'll be flat, but a bargain price, it's very interesting for people to pay attention to.
Yes. So currently in the portfolio, there are the three projects. One is in British Columbia as well, called Jumping Josephine. It's a small gold deposit.
Yep.
We are looking also at property acquisitions. So we get submissions to us where people would like us to move their projects forward, and that's something that lands on our desks quite often. Is new opportunities.
Yes, and that's a very interesting model as well, because when you have that kind of expertise, now would that be a type of a buy-in for you guys, or how would that work?
These vary quite dramatically. Sometimes they're a straight buy-in. Sometimes there are people that would like us to joint venture with them,
Yes.
and so it can vary depending upon what the needs are for both the project and the other company involved.
So now let me ask you this: you've got, I think, just over or close to 4 million cash. Then you have some ability to certainly be looking at projects anywhere you want, as well as I'm sure that's enough to run your program and keep you going for quite some time. What's the next drilling? I mean, you can't say if you're looking at the specific projects, I know, but we'll know that that's on the table. You're looking, but what's the drill program moving forward, like short term and kind of medium term?
Yeah, what we see the next drill to turn will be on the Sandra project. We've identified about 8 different target areas that are very promising. We'll have to prioritize those. We'll start with the first 2 or 3 that we want to move along, and in the joint venture discussions with Pan American Silver. So that is where the crews will be moving into next.
How have you found assay results work down there, compared to say up here in like with, I mean, you probably worked in BC and whatnot. So what do you think down there and project going forward if things are kind of back on track a bit?
Yeah, you're thinking about the time delay that some of the
Yeah.
laboratories have had. Yeah, I see that to be the case. Durango's in a pretty good position because we do have some assay labs right in the city of Durango, which is just drive down the highway from our project. There are some certified assay labs, including Bureau Veritas and SGS Mineral Services, have full-scale laboratories right in Durango City, and so we don't have any delays from that side of things.
That's very handy. I'm sure because of the work of yourself at the team, the advisor group you have, as well as Balcara, the relationships in that area and zone are I imagine, very strong.
Yes, yes. Our office is in Durango City, and we've had a presence there since 2003. So for 19 years, we've had a presence right in Durango City, and that works that whole belt. You can go right down into Zacatecas and Guanajuato, and up into Sonora and Chihuahua. The whole belt through there.
So as we wrap things up, just to kind of give people the big macro overview, there's going to be news coming out. You're in a historically rich with lots of data area, key partners that most mining companies would dream to have joint ventures with and support from. It's looking very, and cash. You've got cash to go, so it's not like you're going back to the market and asking for more. And we're going to be waiting on results. So there's lots happening. There's going to be lots of news flow.
And when you think about it from a regional viewpoint, I believe your next guest is also in that same trend,
Yeah.
and they're right near the border between Durango and Chihuahua. I think they're one of their projects that may be coming up. So I think of it as a term of a rising tide lifts all ships, that the positive nature of the exploration that we're doing and the exploration of your next guest are doing will be beneficial to both companies.
I love that too, because there's no reason why all of us aren't helping each other, not only in the awareness of the impact that mining has, the positive impact, but specifically silver, because it's an industrial metal. It's not just people look at it as a precious metal and with a fiat currency, but this is a used metal. And if you want that green, clean future, you need silver for the solar panels and whatnot. So it's a very strong one. Warren Buffett, he says he hates gold, but he loves silver. So I always throw that in.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ben. That was great. I really appreciate it. We look forward to watching for any news that comes out. Thanks for introducing us to the project, and And yeah, we're excited to hear what the data comes out.
We really appreciate the work of you and your team, and people for Red Cloud have certainly been good for the market. The market mindset, it's a good idea to bring this information to all of the investors. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Today's company presentations are brought to you by Red Cloud Financial Services and the team at Red Cloud Vancouver. Red Cloud Financial Services is your preeminent source for mining industry opportunities. The team provides a unique tailored marketing program dedicated to reaching the right people from its mining-focused global network, giving clients access to industry-leading events and conferences, retail and institutional marketing, plus an in-house growth-driven digital agency. Red Cloud Financial Services has access to some of the mining industry's most notable companies and CEOs. Tune in every Thursday at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, 1:15 p.m. Pacific for weekly corporate presentations. For more information, visit redcloudfs.com.
We're back. All things silver. We're joined with Reyna Silver, CEO Jorge Ramiro Monroy. How are you doing, Jorge? It's been a while since I've seen you, but it's great to talk to you.
Andrew.
Excellent.
It's great to see you. I always have very fond memories of our first interview together, which was a few weeks before Reyna Silver went public.
Yes.
So, I always have very, very happy to see you.
It's great to see you. Reyna Silver has been quite, it's had quite a bit of success. And this is, what's great and also bad, especially for a journalist, is that it's a district scale. We're talking, this is it's a monster project, but that takes time. So there's nothing worse to tell someone is have a bit of patience. But this is certainly when you're dealing with like a monster district scale type of play, patience is necessary. So now we've told people that this is a district scale, and Mr. Ben Whiting here kind of shared that you guys are kind of neighbors on one of the projects.
Yes.
Maybe you could take it from here and give us the macro quick, and we'll get into some of the nitty gritty.
Absolutely. So Reyna Silver is a company, for those of you who are new to our company, that had its genesis through two original assets that were part of MAG Silver's original IPO in 2003, and two assets that were deeply connected to Peter Megaw, who is one of the co-founders of MAG Silver. And the two projects that we're actively exploring, Peter had identified and really do a tremendous amount of work to put together a district together. I think, when we talk about district scale, both in Mexico and in other countries, the work that you have to do is typically involves taking, claims from, in many cases, dozens of owners, and put it together in a comprehensive package where, with the initial exploration tools, you can tell that you have the whole district. Because MAG Silver, for those of you who follow that company, almost from day one had tremendous success in Juanicipio, which is Peter's discovery and an asset that's about to go into production. Will be the highest grade silver mine anywhere in the world. Our two projects were left to the side and had really very little exploration over the years. In 2017, we reached a deal with MAG Silver where they gave those two projects to us, Gigi and Batopilas. And for the first time, these two projects have had the capital and the focus, to have a very comprehensive drill campaign. In addition, we have a third project called Medicine Springs in Nevada, which is also a district scale project. All three of our projects are projects that are former producers and were high-grade producers. So we have identified that potential already, and really what we're doing is taking a very comprehensive approach, looking for size. So that is one of the unique qualities of our company, is that we have put together three projects that have that potential. And let me just very briefly tell you what we have done at Gigi.
Yeah.
We have completed stage one of drilling, and we had two objectives, Andrew, when we were drilling Gigi. Number one was to give just a little bit of context. Gigi is a part of a massive district called the Santa Eulalia district. It's a district that has produced 500 million ounces of silver, And what Peter noticed when he was doing his PhD in this area in the 1980s was that half of the district was missing. CRDs have an upper part of the system, which is mantos and chimneys, and then a skarn part of the system, which is a little bit at a depth. And as many people might know, Peter really created an exploration model that it's now widely used and very successfully. So those 500 million ounces of silver that the district produced came entirely from the chimney and manto part of the system. And the part that has never been found is the skarn part of the system. And few months ago, I think in November, we published the results of the first 12,000 meters. The initial intention was to look for two things: the intrusive and the skarn mineralization, neither of which had ever been located in the district. And we were able to find both. We caught close to 60-meter skarn mineralization and the intrusive. We also were able to cut the limestone rock above the intrusive, which is actually typically the more beneficial host rock. And what Peter believes is that if the upper part of the system, the chimney and manto part of the system, produce 500 million ounces of silver, typically in these systems, there is the potential for having another 500 million ounces of silver in the skarn part of the system. So as you mentioned at the beginning, Andrew, we're looking for something big here. And we're very encouraged by the results so far. We started stage 2 of exploration, where we budgeted for 8,000 meters. We're well into about, I would say, 60 to 70% of that program being completed. Hoping to be able to complete that program in the next month or two, and releasing stage 2 of those results. So that's Gigi. And then at Batopilas, amazing project. It's a project that has a fascinating history. It's historically the highest grade silver mine in the history of Mexico, but also, as far as I know, one of the highest grade silver mines that has ever been in production. It produced 350 million ounces of silver at an average of 1.5 kilos per ton. But the sort of the bonanza part of the mine that was in production until it closed due to the Mexican Revolution in 1912, there were full years where they're producing at 20 kilos per ton. What's unique about this project as well is that it's native silver. I actually have a native silver specimen here right next to me that I can show you. It's native silver is not crystallized into the rock, so it's in, as the word says, in native form. And the old timers were basically taking the ore and straight into the gold room after crushing and milling it without processing it chemically. And so here at Batopilas in 2021, our goal was to establish the district's scale size of the project. Mag Silver had done a little bit of drilling, but more in the area, in the point of contact where the old timers stopped the production. What we did was, let's look what's beyond the historic veins. The district has 30 known veins, all of them with this consistent native silver, with above a kilo grades. And so what we did is early on, through trenching and sampling, we uncovered multiple extensions to the historic veins, covering pretty much the entire district. That's what we found, pieces like this in trenches. One of these pieces graded close to 38 kilos per ton silver. And then below those surface expressions of the veins, we on I think the first or second hole, we intersected a native silver vein called the Cobriza vein. That's about we caught about 3 meters of 1 kilo of silver per ton, with with visible native silver on the core. It's a veinlet that's about 25 centimeters of close to 10,000 grams per ton silver. And then the second part that was very significant about Topilas is very close to the silver vein, we found a gold-bearing vein that also had incredibly high-grade gold. I think the above 21 kilos per ton gold. We found it both on samples and through drilling. So those are the first results of Batopilas. We are, I would say, about maybe 60% of the way there, preparing another press release with those drill holes soon. We've focused a lot on trying to understanding the relationship between the gold system and the silver system. But again, it's a district that what we're looking for here is more of these native ore shoots, and try to really understand the size potential of the district. So far, we've done that quite successfully. And then lastly, I'll tell you about Medicine Springs, which is our third project in Nevada. What we did in 2021 was, Peter identified in this project all the hallmarks of a CRD system, very similar geologically as our project in Mexico, the Gigi project that I described to you first. And in Medicine Springs, there's a historic mine that produced very high-grade silver. Of course, very small tonnage. This is way back in the day. And it had a very small drill campaign of about 200 odd holes that did intersect the high-grade silver, both from samples but from drilling as well. But it was very shallow. So on the basis of the historic information and an initial campaign of prospecting, we recognized that we needed to increase the size of the land package, spend the first half of 2021 doing that work. We quadrupled the size of the land package to close to 4,000 hectares. We're comfortable. We now own an entire district in Nevada. And we published about 2 weeks ago the results of our very extensive sampling campaign of something called jasperoids. Jasperoids are a type of rock that in a CRD system are one of the bigger indicators that you are indeed in a silver system. And I do encourage people to read the press release, and there's a video that comes with it. Very significantly, the grades of the silver in the jasperoids were actually higher than you would normally see in jasperoids. So really a fantastic first step for this project. Very close to identifying our targets, starting the permitting process, and one project that we will try to drill in 2022 as well. So those are the three main elements of Reyna Silver. Again, our focus on a very unique portfolio that we were able to put together of district scale and high grade silver assets. Of course, on the back of an incredible leadership on the technical side from Peter Megaw. But I will also highlight that we have a team of geologists in Mexico who have been working with Peter for in some cases, over 20 years. All our full-time geologists in Mexico have experience working for MAG Silver. Reyna Ramirez, who's the main geologist who's in charge of the Gigi project, was the person who designed the drill targets at Juanicipio for MAG Silver, for instance. So, incredibly experienced and successful geologists on their own right. And, I would certainly encourage investors to follow us, to follow our progress. And we do believe that, we have a great 2022 ahead, full of news from our three projects.
We certainly have all of those check boxes marked for sure. And I'll jump in here just because it's people always ask too, is that, hey, you guys have cash? I think you still have like $11.7 million cash still.
That's 11 million as of the Q3 of 2021.
Oh yeah, September 1st. Yes, so maybe a little bit less now. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So just to give people a sense, I think we're going through about 800,000 a month.
Okay.
But we also have had some warrants exercised. I think soon we will be publishing the exact number.
Sure.
But we still have a very strong cash position.
I think all of your warrants too, like maybe not all of them, but just about, there's quite a few of them that are all in the money. So there's
Yeah,
lots of money there.
Exactly. So we have that in the money close to 7-8 million warrants. And people haven't exercised them as much because I think people believe that our share price will be higher than it is now. However, we do see sort of a trickle every month in terms of warrants.
Well, excellent. This was wonderful to have you on. It's great to catch up with you again. This, it hits all the check marks. I mean, this is why you've had a lot of success in it, not only in the markets, but also with the results. And it's like I said at the beginning, with a lot of generalist investors, is that when you're dealing with any project, you need to have some patience, especially on all the hard work before you start drilling, but especially if you're doing a district scale and hearing that commitment to just patiently making sure you're hitting the right areas at the right time, that is so key. And we're really looking forward to seeing all the data that comes out over the next little while, because like Ben had said as well, is that success in that region, helps everyone. It highlights what a rich historical region it is.
No, I agree. And it's been exciting to see, so much money being put to work, so many great projects, both in Mexico. I mean, I think the other thing that's been great is seeing Nevada coming as a silver, in Nevada. That's also great to see. And, one thing that I will say to you, when I started looking at the space in silver, it was in 2017, looking for projects. And, the reality is that, our projects are early stage primarily because you can't really get your hands on a project that already has ounces.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't exist. There are some projects that do have, I think there was a reference to Pitarrilla, which is a big project, but, very low grade, very, very big, of course. And really what we're doing is looking for something that's big and high grade. And, in order to find it, it's not laying around anywhere.
No.
we need to find it. So we're going through the work. As you say, we're well capitalized to do it. And, really trying to understanding the risk that's inherent in exploration.
Sure.
That's the reason why we chose to have a portfolio of properties that, that gives us, multiple chances, not just on one, but, also reminding people, the fact that we are, working off of historic districts where, people did not, for instance, Batopilas, it's really not been explored with modern technology. And you can just imagine in 1910, taking 300 million ounces of silver at 1.5 kilos per ton, it probably means that's what they could get to.
Yes.
So it's exciting times, and again, really appreciate yourself and Red Cloud for giving us the platform to talk about our company.
Well, thank you so much, Jorge. It was great to catch up with you. Check out Reyna Silver, and thank you as well, Ben Whiting. Check out Orex. Thank you both. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I can't wait to see results coming out of both your projects.
Thank you very much.